A war that changed America. This is the story of a war, a deadly war. It was a war that was won with a river. It was a war where about 625,000 people lost their lives. But another 4 million people, black people, who were slaves, got a chance to live freely. The South breaks away. The war started in America in 1861. The South broke away from the North. The states in the South had slaves. The slaves were people brought from Africa. They were owned, bought, and sold like property. They were not paid for their work. The North did not want the South to make a new country. So there was a war. It was called the Civil War. At that time, the United States had 34 states. The war was between the 20 states in the North and the 11 states in the South. 3 states were in the middle. They did not want to be in the war. A long war. The war went on for 4 years. It was a terrible war. About 625,000 soldiers died. They died in battles between the North and the South. They also died of disease. Actually, for every soldier killed in battle, 2 died of disease. It was difficult to keep the soldiers healthy while they were living in camps. The First Battle of Bull Run. The first major battle was in Virginia. It was a place called Bull Run. The soldiers from the South waited. The soldiers from the North attacked them. They fought against each other all day. The North was winning. Then, more Southern soldiers arrived by train. The South started attacking. They started winning. Some soldiers from the North began to run away. Then more ran. The South won the battle. General Robert E. Lee. In 1862, Robert E. Lee was put in charge of an army for the South. He was one of the best soldiers of his time. His army became the most famous and most successful of the Southern armies. Controlling the Mississippi River. During the war, the Mississippi River was very important. Soldiers and food were sent up and down the river quickly. The river went through many of the southern states. The North wanted to control the river. By controlling the river, they could cut the South in two. Southern soldiers on one side of the river would not be able to help Southern soldiers on the other side of the river. Slowly, the North took control. Army and Navy soldiers worked together fighting battles. The Battle for Vicksburg. The South had an important river fortress at Vicksburg. It was high above the river and hard to get to. The North attacked many times but could not win. Then one of the generals from the North, General Grant, got an idea. He put his soldiers around the city and waited. After 46 days, the soldiers in the city did not have any food. They let Grant come into the city. The North won the battle. After taking Vicksburg, the North won another important battle. This was the Battle of Gettysburg. Together, these battles were the turning point in the war. Most of the fighting during the war was in the South, but Gettysburg was a battle fought in the North. Gettysburg. General Lee moved north with his army and attacked. The battle lasted 3 days. Many soldiers were hurt. died or went missing, as many as 51,000 soldiers. The war ends. By the end of the war, the North had many more soldiers than the South. The South could not fight them. The North was too strong. The South stopped the war. The North won. In the beginning, the war was fought to keep the North and South together as one country. But as the war continued, it also became about freedom. President Lincoln made laws against slavery. It was illegal. There were no more slaves. No slave wanted to be a slave. During the war, slaves would run to the Northern soldiers. They would see the soldiers and ask for protection and freedom. In 1862, President Lincoln let black people become soldiers for the North. They fought to make their friends and families free. Now in the United States, all people live together and are free. They are all Americans.